Today, we are tackling dangerous ground. That's right, we're naming names. The fantasy characters who, let's be honest, just might get a little more hype than they deserve.
I mean, these are the ones that fandoms go nuts. Uh, but when you read them, maybe you're like, or even I'll go to the extent, maybe I just get really tired of okay, they're not that good.
Exactly. So go ahead, grab your pitchforks, sharpen your scythes, or better yet, just hit the like button because we're going to have some fun here now, diving into the most overhyped characters of fantasy.
So hi there, welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son sit down and talk about today characters from fantasy books. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. Thanks for joining us today. It's good to have my co host, Zach, on with us today. And we've got a fun conversation to get into. But before we jump into this controversial list we're going to bring at you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss when we drop more bookish chaos. Who knows what else will be coming your way. And a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. You keep making it possible for us to stir the pot with topics like today. If you're not a part of our Patreon community yet, check out the link below and join in on the fun. All right, here's the deal for today.
Yep.
We've each put together a list of fantasy characters that we think are maybe a little overhyped.
Or
not necessarily bad. No. We think they're overhyped. And if others disagree, they're wrong. But again, to be clear, these aren't bad characters. I mean, in fact, some of them are freaking fantastic. But the fandom sometimes makes them out to be more than they really are. That's where we're coming from.
So yes, be prepared. We're about to roast some of your favorites. We may even roast some of our favorites.
It's true. Mine, his, we'll see. Again, we've got two separate lists and we haven't shared them ahead of time. But, basically what we're saying here, all of you watching, get ready to be offended somehow.
That being said, as always, we'll be at least relatively spoiler light. So if you haven't read a series and you don't know something about a character, well, chances are you probably have heard of them because they've gotten so much hype, whether you've read the book or not.
Absolutely. So I have a few more characters pulled on my list than Zach does. So I'll start. But I'm going to guess we have a little bit of overlap. We'll
Probably
see how
a little.
this plays out. We'll see. For my first overhyped character from fantasy, I'm going way back. And I'm bringing out Morgoth from the Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. Morgoth is supposedly, in Tolkien's Middle-earth world, the ultimate evil. Okay, he's Satan in this series, okay? He is the menace that exists before all in the lore. His reputation is just, but in the end, he's not really all that. And he's taken down way too easy. So I'm like, yeah, how big and bad is Morgoth really?
I think people who really are into Tolkien and get deep into the lore might come at you for that, especially the statement that he got taken down too easily. However, what I will give you, he's not the focus of most of what we actually get for any story. He's gone way before most of our actual story. And so, yes, he's a big bad from the lore. But if he doesn't even get the focus of our book, does he really deserve to be as hyped as he is?
I mean, I don't think the Lord of the Rings mentions Morgoth once. It's all about Sauron, who was his lesser sidekick, his lieutenant.
It may mention at some point that he had previously had a dark master that he rose up in place of or something. Certainly, I don't think mentions by name. Maybe I'm wrong.
And you're kind of right to call me out for saying, he was taken down too easy. It took, the complete destruction of a portion of the world.
Yeah, I'm like, didn't the gods have to step in on that one?
In the end, yeah, they kind of did. And it changed the world forever. But still, he's gone. Okay, give us one. What do you got?
I will give you one that won't appear on your list, but I think does deserve to be here because of the way that diehard fans talk about this character. We both know I enjoy the Percy Jackson and the Olympian books, that series. It's more YA,
Okay.
but it has a special place in my heart. However, Percy Jackson is overhyped. Fans of the series are like, no. Percy, crazy, especially the later books. He goes so hard. This man could 1v1 most people in fantasy. And I'm like, you haven't read enough fantasy.
Now, when you said some people are so diehard, I was like, are you dissing Bruce Willis? Where are we going with this?
I mean, he's overhyped too, but
Oh, all right. I have no issue with Percy Jackson because
you
I've
don't think
only
he's
read the
overhyped?
first book. No, I'm good with him being overhyped. That's my point. I'm just fine with that one. My next one, it kind of pains me to put him on the list because he's my favorite character from a particular series. But he's a little overhyped even there, and that's Tyrion Lannister from A Song of Ice and
on
Fire.
my list.
He was on your list. So by George R.R. Martin. He's famous for his witty quips, his sharp political mind, but he's written perhaps a little too cleverly. He's always got the perfect comeback. And in the world he lives in, as a little person, he'd be dead. I don't care he's a Lannister. He'd be dead. But the fandom, they inflate him to the frickin' smartest man alive. And he's the god of this world. It's like, come on.
Here's my reasoning as to why I think Tyrion is overhyped, especially because, I agree. Fandom and fans of Tyrion are like, this is the smartest man on this planet kind of thing. That's a tactical mind on all these things. And I sit here and go, all right, hold on. Are we ignoring the canon of the actual book? Are we ignoring what actually happens? Tyrion's not even the smartest member in his family, let alone in the series, let alone in all of fantasy.
Oh, wait, so you're saying his dad was smarter?
Absolutely. When we talk about an actual tactical plan and all this, when we go feat for feat, Tywin absolutely is the smarter, more brutal mind. His
with a fatal
point
flaw
of weakness is that his fatal flaw, he decided
Tyrion because he's a little person.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that Tywin is the smartest in all of fantasy either, or that the smartest person can't be outsmarted. But Tyrion is so often, like you said, touted as being this genius of all these things, and he's just not. Yes, he's smart. Yes, he's capable. He is overhyped.
Fair enough. There we go. So we're agreeing he belongs on the overhyped list. Who else you got?
One that you haven't read, except you have. You've read some of it. You'll know this character. We're going to Sarah J. Maas, Court of Thorns and Roses, Feyre Archeron.
Okay.
She is one of the Mary Sues of all time. No skills or abilities really to speak of, except somehow suddenly she's perfect at everything all the time. And people will die hard for her. People are in her court. And if they're not, they're really in Nesta's court eventually. And that one, it makes a little more sense, I think. I think that's a better written character. Feyre, through a lot of it, isn't even that good of a character. And I don't get why people latch on and love or think this character actually deserves to be as good as they are claimed to be.
Okay. Now, in our last episode and in this episode, we've now used the term Mary Sue, but we're assuming people know what that means. Maybe we should explain once.
What's
a Mary Sue? You want me to explain?
Put it on you first.
A Mary Sue is basically a character who is way too awesome with skills and abilities that are unearned. And it's like, there's no justification for why they are so freaking good at what they do. Mary Sue. There's another reason why that name exists. You can Google it if you want. We're not going there. All right. My next one. I'm interested to see if you'll agree with this one. Geralt of Rivia.
Also on my list.
Oh! From the Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski, however they say it. He's a monster hunter extraordinaire. He is good at what he does. His fame has been bolstered by the Netflix series, soon to be destroyed by the next season. Maybe
We'll
not.
see.
But the hype is more about the world and the side characters, honestly, than Geralt himself. Geralt is just Geralt. He's not as all that as the hype would try to build him up. I mean, he's an emotionally flat character who just goes about and does his thing. So I think he's overhyped. Honestly, the world has far more interesting things in it than Geralt.
In this, I think this is a symptom of a really good set of video games and a really good adaptation that we loved that characterization.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's different portrayals and adaptations of Geralt that stick in your mind and are really cool and really good. But Geralt in the books, he's a Witcher. I
Geralt,
don't think
the
he's even
vehicle
necessarily
to deliver
the best
everything
Witcher.
else.
Um,
Yennefer's story, way more interesting than Geralt's, and what she accomplishes, way better.
But even so, even when we acknowledge Yennefer's red flags within like their relationship and stuff, we often kind of forget or overlook Geralt's or his faults in that, and we're like, nah, Geralt's the good guy, the Witcher, and we're just sitting here going, I don't think he deserves that like adulation.
Okay, I like it. So, what do you have for another one?
Next on my list is a character that I do believe you have read.
So, might be
from
on
a
my
series
list.
that you haven't read most of, because they first appear in the Live Ship Traders trilogy
Oh,
of the
then
Realm of
they're
the
not on my
Elderlings,
list. Yeah, wow. Okay.
and that would be Malta Vestrit.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay.
some people I've seen laud Malta as being one of the most like powerful of characters eventually. Like she really grows into it, and you see her story, and the growth is just amazing. And they're not wholly wrong, but Malta starts as a brat, and she doesn't fully grow out of that.
And
And
that
there's just a
happens.
lot of it feels like there's a lot of erasure of a lot of time spent with Malta being awful for the sake of where she goes and becomes. And I'm like,
Okay.
realistically, did y'all spend the time with that character that you seem to? Because you just talk about this character being great and awesome and a strong, willful woman, and she's not just that. She's also a really annoying character.
Is that Robin Hobb's skillful writing to get fans to forget about the past?
Maybe, except I didn't forget. I think she's overrated. I don't really, even when I'm like, okay, I understand and I'm here for you, I still don't necessarily like you that much.
Okay. I won't argue with you on that one. Nope. My next one is from the Broken Empire trilogy by Mark Lawrence. I'm here to talk about Jorg Ankrath. This is an edgy anti-hero, the chief protagonist of the trilogy, grimdark to the core. And to some, he's a brilliant study of morality, knowing where he comes from, the choices he makes. You get it. But he gets a little hyped because, no, he gets really hyped because of his choices that go to shock value and just ridiculous brutality.
Hmm.
It's over the top grimdark. So, and that's why some people don't like the Broken Empire trilogy, because Jorg is just too much. That's how some come to feel about it. So overhyped, I think. I enjoy the character, but I get that some will think he's overhyped. You
I
haven't read
can't
that one
speak
yet,
to it.
right?
I haven't read it, so I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
You've definitely read the next one, and it's the first that I can see and think that you might get mad at me for.
Well, let's see.
Coming from the Dresden Files,
How dare
by
you?
Jim Butcher, Harry Dresden himself.
I'm not shocked that you're saying that.
So overrated.
You're so wrong. But
I
okay.
I thought
Okay.
about this. I considered a couple of characters that are really put forward for their humor in that series that I think maybe are too much, and ultimately it just came down to, nah. I mean, the prime character, the driving force of this series, isn't worth what certain people, make him out to be. It's not that he's bad over the entirety of the series. Some books. But through the entirety of the series, he's a fine character. But he's not one of the characters of all time. But some people, definitely think so and say.
I obviously hard disagree with this one, but I respect my son's opinion. We've said it before. I affirm and enjoy him even when he's wrong.
And we said it at the start of the episode. I was gonna make him mad.
I'm not mad. I'm just dismissing you as completely out of your mind.
So
the next one I
what do you
have,
got?
I don't think you've read, because I think you've avoided the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind.
I've watched the show based on it.
Oh, well, then you're familiar with the character. Your mother is reading through the series. I think she's on book 10. She's actually really enjoyed the series, though has admittedly come to these last few books going, there's not as much going on anymore. It's like, yeah, people have noticed. But I'm bringing Richard Rahl as an overhyped character. In this series, he's cast as the ultimate savior figure. And he's so good. Yeah, he's too good. His monologues, his moral absolutism can become a little exhausting rather than inspiring. So I enjoy Richard, but he's a little overhyped.
I haven't actually read these. We've talked about it before. I'm not a huge fan of the author's stance and what they have said about their own series. And so there's just so much out there to read. I've gotten what I need to from that show. If I ever change my mind, maybe I'll come back and read it, but there's so many other things to read.
Sure. Let me put another one in, because I had more
Please
to start
do.
with, and I've already
And
stolen
you've
a couple
taken
of
some of mine.
Yes. And this one I don't think you'll have thought of. I'm bringing Doctor Strange from Marvel Comics and many fantasy crossovers. He is the freaking Sorcerer Supreme. And he gets enormous hype for being all powerful because of his magical abilities. And yet, the problems he's often solving, it's kind of in a hand-wavy magic rather than any real development. He doesn't really step up and prove his awesomeness much at all. So, overhyped. Even within the MCU, I think he's kind of overhyped.
Yeah, I'm not going to necessarily argue about it. The only thing that I'll bring in is just that I don't know a lot of people who have Doctor Strange as their favorite Marvel character. So maybe the hype is not as big as it might be.
It is a very popular character in Marvel, actually, but he does kind of stand aside. Not in the mix of the core things, and yet he was part of the Defenders, which was like a side group from the Avengers. You had the Defenders, and yet the Defenders didn't run as long or as successfully as the Avengers.
I'm not saying he's not popular. I'm just saying I don't know a lot of people whose favorite character is Doctor Strange. Maybe it'll be their third favorite or something.
All right, give us another.
Next on my list is I really tried to avoid any multiple characters from a series. I tried to avoid multiple characters from authors. This is my repeat author here.
Don't bash another Dresden Files one.
I'm not right now.
Wait, did you say not right now?
Don't worry about it. No, I have to bash another protagonist of Sarah J. Maas. Because Aelin Galathinius is just as undeserving of everything about her. She doesn't grow. She doesn't really be the empowering, awesome force that she's supposed to be. And yet, I do see everywhere people who love this series and talk about her and talk about these big moments. And maybe I just haven't gotten to some of them yet. But no, this man, is she overhyped. Okay. So overhyped. I don't get it. Maybe I really truly do think, and maybe this is just a mean way to say this, and because some people feel differently, but I do think this is an example of, if this is your favorite character, you should read more fantasy.
Broaden your perspective. All right, my next one. Rand al'Thor from The Wheel of Time.
That's fair. He falls for main character syndrome. That's why he's not my favorite.
He is the Dragon Reborn. Some could say he's easily the central character of The Wheel of Time, a figure of prophecy, but come on, this dude, He's moody. He swings from being emo Rand to Jesus Rand. I mean, and then his stubbornness fighting against what his destiny is. So
When
the hype
people
overplays how he actually delivers.
Yeah, when people bring in conversations of Wheel of Time and powerful characters and comparing different characters from different series, you very often get people coming out of the woodwork to be like, "Oh yeah, no, Rand defeats all of the people here easily. None of the others even hold a candle to him." And it's like, you're just really, really kissing Rand's ass. You're not actually acknowledging his pros or cons or the skills of other people. You didn't
Yeah,
engage with
yeah.
the prompt
And truly,
genuinely.
the Wheel of Time fan base, it's hard to find people where Randall Thor is their favorite character. They admit he's awesome, and yet they like Matt Cawthon. They like Egwene Veer. That they don't like Rand.
And so I find Rand is very overhyped for people who have read the Wheel of Time but don't love the Wheel of Time. People who are not deep in the Wheel of Time fandom
There you
but
go.
did enjoy it and are in big on other things.
Nice. He is very powerful, but he gets in his own way, so he's not as powerful as he's hyped for.
Now, that being said, let me go ahead and piss off the Wheel of Time fandom now.
Oh, you got another you're bringing.
Because I am bringing a Wheel of Time character that I think is overhyped by the Wheel of Time fandom. Not necessarily by everyone in all of fantasy, by the people who actually dig in deeper, a little bit more in the weeds.
Okay, let's hear it.
And it does hurt me a little bit because I'm one of the people who probably will overhype this person. Tom Maryland. Tom Maryland gets overhyped, and it's partially in a similar way that, like, way back at the beginning of this episode, you were talking about Morgoth. That Tom Maryland gets hyped up for his actions off the page. He gets hyped up for the things that we know about him or the things that he's theoretically done. But what he actually does in the series or what we actually see, yeah, there's some of it there, and you can infer things that are happening, but we don't actually see him do a whole lot to deserve the amount that we love him, think he's a mastermind, think all these fun, good things about him. We just kind of infer and assume, and therefore give him all the credit and praise of it.
In the series where we read it, Tom's best days are behind him. And yeah, that's why he's so hyped and famous for the stuff he used to do. He's still doing behind the scenes stuff, but yeah, okay.
But I think we in the fandom often do still laud his accolades for what he used to do in the here and now.
Yeah, not the showrunner of the TV series. They were pretty much trying to eradicate Tom Maryland. All right, I got a controversial one for my next one. Overhyped Harry Potter.
I don't think that's that controversial. Almost made on my list. Didn't, but almost.
The boy who lived. I mean, he's iconic, no question. Still, the side characters are a lot more interesting than Harry. Hermione, Snape, Luna, even Neville is more interesting at times than Harry. I mean, Harry just coasts on destiny. He's the one there to eventually defeat Voldemort, I guess. But yeah, he's not all that. He's just an everyman. He's just this guy, and all the ones around him far more fascinating and interesting.
The only reason Harry did not make my list is because I think a lot of people are in on that. Like, it's a not very well kept secret that Harry is not all that. I don't think he's as hyped by the fandom. By the world, absolutely. Well, in world, overhyped.
All right.
By the people who read it, not necessarily. But I do think there are some side characters that maybe could go there. I considered throwing in like a Remus Lupin or a Sirius Black as options that are maybe overhyped. But ultimately, I sat there and went, no, if anything, Harry Potter is the deserved pick here. I don't think he actually gets the hype that would make him overhyped. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just have better reader friends who have not been hyping him.
All right, let me give you another one.
Yes, please.
Daenerys Targaryen from A Song of Ice and Fire. I mean, the Mother of Dragons gets immense hype, but her storyline ends up being more about spectacle. The dragons fire, the titles she earns, than any nuanced character growth, actually. She's done dirty a little bit by the HBO adaptation, and yet I kind of think that's where Martin was going to take the character. But I think the show kind of dismisses some of the things that Martin did put into the books. So what the show shows she goes to actually does make a little more sense if you think deeper. But nevertheless, she gets hyped for how awesome she is, and in a lot of ways, no, she actually kind of sucks. And you should lean into how much she sucks, but we don't. We overhype her. She's incredible. People were naming their kids Khaleesi. I mean, come on.
I think Daenerys suffers from how long it's taking George R.R. Martin to write these books, because the more time that goes by, the more time people who love these books get to sit with it, get to analyze, get to dive into theories, get to change their perspective of how they feel about the character from what they read and change it into what they remember reading, which is different than what they read. So I do think she gets more hype than is probably deserved. You're probably right.
All right. Give us another one.
My next on the list is one that maybe isn't as overhyped since last December, because people were upset with certain things, certain revelations or storylines. But if you go back a book or two before that, people don't shut up and they don't it's not, I never got it.
Okay.
This is from the Stormlight Archive. This is Brandon Sanderson. Dalinar Kholin. Good character, good journey. People weren't happy about the destination, but journey before destination, you know? But I don't get the hype. Why is he people's favorite character? I don't get it.
I still love Dalinar. Even
I think Dalinar's
not happy
good
with the way the book ends, I still am happy with Dalinar. So I disagree with you on this one. I think he deserves the hype.
I think he's a good character. And that's where it's like, I'm not saying he's a bad character, but I don't think he's one of the best characters of all time. I don't think he is even the best character in the Stormlight Archive.
Yeah, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one. But that's what we do.
Up to you.
All right. I've got an interesting one to bring now. Maybe it'll make your list. Frodo Baggins.
No, that's fair. That's very fair.
From The Lord of the Rings. Central to the story, yes. Celebrated as a hero. But come on. Samwise is the real hero in this story, not Frodo.
Oh, yeah. And
Frodo's
real
reputation is
boosted
more by the circumstance he's in than any compelling traits he actually had. He was an entitled, rich young kid who just kind of is the ring bearer. Samwise, that's the core, that's the real heart of this series. So yeah, Frodo's overblown and Samwise doesn't get enough hype.
I think a very similar case and argument could actually be made for Aragorn too. These are characters who, by being kind of paragon characters and very archetypical, suffer for actually being the well-rounded character that I want them to be, but still get a lot of praise and love.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
And in many ways, get so much praise and love based upon the Peter Jackson adaptation, which is fantastic.
I love Aragorn in that.
But it is something to recognize and go, are we overhyping a book character based upon loving the portrayal in an adaptation?
Yeah. How many do you have left?
1.
Oh, well, I have 4. So let me go.
You kept stealing mine.
I'll do a couple more. Hopefully it doesn't steal your one.
You might take the last one. It's possible.
I don't think these two will. First, Belgarath the Sorcerer. This is from the Belgariad, also the Malorian, but I've only read the Belgariad by David Eddings. Belgarath is a long-lived wizard who's very archetypical for epic fantasy. He's hyped as wise and essential, but he's a Gandalf knockoff. It's so obvious. And he doesn't have the gravitas that Gandalf has. So I read the Belgariad. The reason I haven't read the Malorian is there just wasn't enough in there for me to go, ooh, I need to read the sequel series. No, it was fine. It was just not enough. So Belgarath is overhyped.
The way you've talked about that before to me often strikes me as if you read it earlier in your fantasy journey, you maybe
I
would have loved
might
it.
have. Might
But
have.
where you were at, you just seen too many things
Too
that this
shallow.
was emulating.
Yeah. The next one is Edward Cullen from the Twilight Saga by Stephanie
Yeah, you
Meyer.
could have said any character from this
I
series.
knew
They're
I was going to
overhyped.
steal that from you, though. So this is not traditional fantasy, but it's kind of fantasy horror or
It's
whatever.
fantasy.
Okay. Edward Cullen became a cultural icon. Everybody knows who he looks like because of the movie adaptations. His brooding perfection. He's the perfect brooder. I mean, I see his face. I'm like, yeah, that's a broody protagonist. But also this obsessive love he has. It's like, no, this is just weird. It attracted tons of fans, but the hype, Team Edward or Team, what's
Jacob.
his name? Jacob. I never got any of that. I was not the audience they were targeting. I get
No,
that,
you
but
were not.
it is overblown big time.
I will give, at the time, I thought Robert Pattinson playing Edward was overhyped, and I was wrong. Maybe it's just he's proved it since, but no, our Pat deserves hype,
He is an
and I was wrong.
exceptional Batman. Oh my
He's an
goodness.
exceptional a lot of
And
things.
there's a sequel coming out finally. His portrayal of the Batman is
It was
perhaps the
good.
best adaptation that's out there. To
I
be
thought the
true
movie
to the character.
I thought the movie had some pacing issues. I
It
didn't
did. It did.
love it,
I had to
but
try
his
the movie twice
portrayal was good.
because the first time I got bored and I stopped watching it. And then I went back and I watched it again. And I was like, why did I get bored? Maybe I just had a short attention span at that point because it's a
Mhm.
really good movie.
It's one of those things where he's a very good part of a movie that I didn't enjoy that much.
Okay. But they do have the sequel coming finally. So, hey. All right. Your last one because I have
My
two
last
left
one.
and maybe you'll steal one of mine.
So my last one is a character I enjoy. However, there is a huge contingent of the fan base for this series, and there are some people who are very against this series, and partially because of this character. But the people who are big fans of the series often really aggressively defend this character and are like, calm down. You don't need to be that level of dude, bro. We don't all need to walk around and yell Hail Reaper at people. Yes, this is Red Rising from by Pierce Brown, Darrow Olycos. This character is cool, is awesome, has a lot of
Oh.
badass stuff, also has a lot of flaws, and is so overhyped by the Red Rising fandom. People are ready to participate in an Iron Rain. They want to march to Mars for this man, and you shouldn't. He's not worth it.
Yeah, this
He's a
never had a shot on
very
my
engaging
list
character, but
because
he is overhyped.
this is space fantasy. So it sits
It's still
firmly in the
fantasy.
camp between fantasy and sci-fi. So it didn't even cross my mind. But you're not wrong.
I'm right.
Darrow, love him, hate him, but overhyped. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
buy into that. Now let's see if you buy into my last two.
Lay it on me.
Kelsier from
Yeah.
Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson.
Yep.
Yeah. The Survivor, a fan favorite, and I've never got it. Never. I mean, just think about what you get from him in the first book. He's manipulative. He's egotistical. It's all about Kelsier. He's not as deep as the fandom reveres him to be. He never was. Now, as you read more of the Cosmere, you know there does come to become more of Kelsier, but he's still him. He's still this egotistical, self-centered entity. And no, I'm not a Kelsier stan. I am not, never have been.
I love a messy, broken character, so I'm going to enjoy every time he shows up. But I'm also not going to sit here and go to bat for him. Like, no, it's very fair that this is a
Overhyped.
character that maybe is one of the author's favorites, but if it's one of your favorites, maybe you should rethink that.
My number one, though, because you may have caught on, I started with my weaker ones and I got to my biggest as we're talking here at the end. Most overhyped character in fantasy is one you are familiar with. Kvoth from the King Killer Chronicle.
Interesting. Probably fair.
He's a legendary talent, musician, magician, fighter even. But he's a Mary Sue. He has no reason to have such skill and talent. It's just
a prodigy.
Yeah. The hype outweighs the actual character growth we see in the story. And even worse, we don't know what the rest of the story is. Why is it the King Killer Chronicle? We still don't know.
I will go to the extent I've only read the first. I haven't read the second. It's not as Mary Sue as I think you're portraying, because we are being told some of the journey and growth and hard work that it took. But it is 100% a child prodigy. This is some Mary Sue-ness of some of this just came easily. Some of it made sense as to why it came easily, and there's at least some more in-world explanation for it that we don't always get with characters like that. But a lot of people in the fandom do laud this as one of the greatest characters, one of the most powerful things. We haven't necessarily seen that. I think it's a very enjoyable character.
Yeah, totally. I enjoy these books.
I'll probably put Kvoth up there as one of the greatest storytellers in fantasy, up there with Wit/Hoyd.
I think you will agree with me more after you read the second book.
I can sit here and go, I think I will enjoy this character. I think I'll continue to enjoy the story. I think you're probably right that he's overhyped.
And there you have it. Some of the most overhyped characters of fantasy, in our opinion. Some of these we do love, but we admit we roll our eyes at them. All of them get way more attention than maybe they deserve. That's all we're saying.
So now it's your turn. Hop into the comments, yell at us for being wrong, respectfully, and respectfully with each other as well. But also throw in who you think we missed, who is overhyped that you're just tired of hearing about because you don't think they're worth it.
That's right. We're good with you telling us we're wrong. Just tell us why. But we definitely want to know who else we should have talked about. But keep it spoiler light, as always. And again, huge thank you to our Patreon supporters. You're totally awesome. If you'd like to join our Patreon community, look down in the show notes. You can keep us producing these episodes with a little bit of monthly support. We do appreciate you.
And that's it, I think. So thanks for watching, everybody.
We'll talk to you next time.